Today's session is on Java data type. Today, we learn what are data types in Java. As explained in the previous chapter, a variable in Java must be a specified data type. Example, int my num equals 5. Here int is our data type and next example is float my float num equals 5.99f. Here float is data type. Now, data types are divided into two groups. Primitive data types includes byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean and char. And other type is non-primitive data types such as string, arrays and classes. You will learn more about these in a later chapter. Now first of all, primitive data types. A primitive data type specifies the size and type of variable values, and it has no additional methods. There are 8 primitive data types in Java. First of all, byte stores whole numbers from -128 to 127. Second one is short, which stores whole numbers from -32,768 to 32,767. And other one is int, which stores whole numbers from -2,147,483,648 to 2,147,483,647. Other is long, which stores whole numbers, and other is float, which stores fractional numbers, sufficient for storing 6 to 7 decimal digits, and double, which stores fractional numbers, sufficient for storing 15 decimal digits. Second last is boolean, which stores true or false values. Last is char, which stores a single character, letter or ASCII values. Numbers. Primitive number types are divided into two groups. First one is integer types, which stores whole numbers, positive or negative, such as 123 or -456, without decimals. Valid types are byte, short, int and long. Which type you should use depends on the numeric value. Second one is floating point types, which represents numbers with a fractional part containing one or more decimals. There are two types, float and double. Even though there are many numeric types in Java, the most used for numbers are int for whole numbers and double for floating point numbers. However, we will describe them all as you continue. Now, integer types. Byte. The byte data type can store whole numbers from -128 to 127. This can be used instead of int or other integer types to save memory when you are certain that the value will be within -128 and 127. Example, byte my num equals 100, system.out, println, my num. Now, short. The short data type can store whole numbers from -32,768 to 32,767. For example, short my num equals 5,000, system.out, println, my num. Now most popular type, int. The int data type can store whole numbers from -2,147,483,648 to +2,147 and so on. In general, and in our tutorial, the int data type is the preferred data type when we create variables with a numeric value. Example, int my num equals 100,000. System.out, println, my num. Next one is long. The long data type can store whole numbers from -9,223,372,854,775,808 to 922 and so on. This is used when int is not large enough to store the value. Note that you should end the value with an L. Example long my num equals 1500000. System.out. Println my num. Now second category as floating point types. You should use a floating point type whenever you need a number with a decimal, such as 9.99 or 3.14515. First type is float. The float data type can store fractional numbers from 3.4a minus 038 to 3.4a plus 038. Note that you should end the value with an F. Example float my num equals 5.75f. System.out. Println my num. Another one is double. The double data type can store fractional numbers from 1.7a minus 308 to 1.7a plus 308. Note that you should end the value with a D. Example double my num equals 19.99d. System.out. Println my num. Use float or double. The precision of a floating point value indicates how many digits the value can have after the decimal point. The precision of float is only 6 or 7 decimal digits, while double variables have a precision of about 15 digits. Therefore, it is safer to use double for most calculations. Scientific numbers. A floating point number can also be a scientific number with an A to indicate the power of 10. Example float F1 equals 35e3f. Double D1 equals 12e4d. System.out. Println F1. System.out. Println D1. Booleans. A Boolean data type is declared with the Boolean keyword and can only take the values true or false. Example Boolean is Java fun equals true. Boolean is fish tasty equals false. System.out. Println is Java fun. This give us output true. System.out. Println is fish tasty. This give us output false. Now other type is characters. The char data type is used to store a single character. The character must be surrounded by single quotes, like A or C. Example char my grade equals B. System.out. Println my grade. Now most important strings. The string data type is used to store a sequence of characters, text. String values must be surrounded by double quotes. Example string greeting equals hello world. System.out. Println greeting. Special note here. The string type is so much used and integrated in Java that some call it the special ninth type. A string in Java is actually a non-primitive data type because it refers to an object. The string object has methods that are used to perform certain operations on strings. Don't worry if you don't understand the term object just yet. We will learn more about strings and objects in a later chapter. Lastly, non-primitive data types. Non-primitive data types are called reference types because they refer to objects. The main difference between primitive and non-primitive data types are: primitive types are predefined, already defined in Java. Non-primitive types are created by the programmer and is not defined by Java, except for string. Non-primitive types can be used to call methods to perform certain operations, while primitive types cannot. A primitive type has always a value, while non-primitive types can be null. A primitive type starts with a lowercase letter, while non-primitive type starts with an uppercase letter. The size of a primitive type depends on the data type, while non-primitive types have all the same size. Examples of non-primitive types are strings, arrays, classes, interface, etc. You will learn more about these in a later chapter. That is for today and thank you for watching this video. And if you found it useful, then please subscribe.